What is up, guys? It's Zero here, and we're back again today for another deck profile for set 3 stuff. Honestly speaking, I can't even call this set 3 because this is just Revengers with a G-Zone for the most part. But my list does have some twist in it. I did ask you guys if you guys wanted to see this, and most of you did say yes, so here we are doing Revengers for the third time. But what can you do, right? The other Shadow Paladin decks just suck. I think Claret is unplayable dog shit. I think Diablo is okay at best. So here we are again, Revengers with the G-Zone. But this deck does have a small twist to it. I did make some very different changes to it that you might not expect. So without further ado, here is the deck list. So the very glaring thing you can see here is, wow, 1 Mordred and 4 Phantom Blaster Dragon Break Ride. So I'll get to that when I get to that. So we'll start from the top to bottom like usual. First off, I'm not going to bother explaining all these little cards. You've seen these before. You probably know what they all do by now. Judge Bow is Judge Bow. Boost Phantom CV1 call 2 grade 1s. You can call Sword Breakers, you can call Dorans, you can call whatever with this. Nice starter. I choose to play just because this is your best starter going first. I've tried the other starters. I do like them. The issue is that those starters feel super bad when you have to go first because they don't do anything. Judge Bow can let you call you usually call you at least 1 Sword Breaker just to draw a card back, so you don't feel too bad if you commit early when you have to go first. So yeah, so that's why I play Judge Bow, just because it's something that you do when you go first. PG, we swapped up with the countercharge PG. I just personally I never really want to put PG down. You never want to put PG down anyways for sack as cost. So it's like if you run into a game where if you just had a unnamed PG to sack for cost and you lost because of it, whatever, that basically never comes up at this point. So I do value the extra countercharge you can get from the PG. So yeah, so that's why I play that. 2 Sword Breakers, the combo with the Judge Bow, 4 Dorans to go with your Blaster Darks, 3. I'm playing 3 Dark Bonds here because, as I've noticed with this deck, a lot of the times you just need a bunch of cheap fodder, and this card shits out free fodder for you, or cheap fodder for you. Counterblast 1 call a 5k body, basically. They're all 5k, grade 0s with no effect, so. This card does serve as multiple duties of just shitting out free fodder for you when you need it, but the main reason why I like this card so much is because on turn 2, with the mana, you can call this thing, call Dark Bond, call the grade 0 fodder. So you have fodder to use for Phantom Blaster Dragon's on ride skill if you need it. So that's the reason why I choose to play like a small package like this with the mana and the Dark Bond. So that's it for grade 1s, grade 2s. And obviously I'll go over the Phantom Blaster Dragon's skill when we get to it, what his on ride skill is. So yeah, grade 2s, 4 Blaster Dark Abyss. You can snipe back row, but more importantly, it's the mate to the Abyss. So that's why I'm playing 4 of it. I think 4 is actually optimal because you don't want to run the risk of like too many going to damage or too many getting binded from Narukami. So I think 4 is optimal from this. 2 Makarts, we don't play the Cormac, but Makart again still shits out free fodder for you. So 2 of it is pretty nice. I just didn't want to play 4 mana just because I didn't want too many 8k bodies in the deck, because sometimes you do just want this as an intercept, but you don't want to call it back because either you're scared of deck out or you just don't want to call anything. So because you don't have anything, so that's why I choose to play the 2 Makarts and the 4 manas. If you don't really care about the AK body, I definitely think you could bump up the mana to 4 instead. Mana, I didn't play her before, but now I do. Her skill is on play, call a grade 1 or Avenger in the same columns as this card, and to the rear guard in the same columns as this, and at the end of your turn, return it back to the bottom of the deck. So it basically just calls a fodder for free to sack off on that turn. Sometimes early, like I said, you'll call a Dark Bond and just use Dark Bond to call the grade 0 body onto the board. So yeah, that's why she's here. Again, she's just here for cheap fodder and 4 Blaster Darks. Nothing else to say here. Blaster Dark. He's your retire. He's your countercharge engine. No reason not to play 4. And finally, the grade 3 triggers. Obviously, we play 4 heal cards. Heal cards are heal cards. Sucks that's not on name, but what can you do? You still play heal cards because they're extra guards, and this deck does draw a shit ton. So you will draw into these fairly often, so you don't really mind drawing into them just because they are cards in hand. Next up, we're playing the 1 Mordred. How the mighty have fallen, right? That used to be like a mandatory 4 of your main ride, but as I've just been playing with this deck, I basically never wanted to ride into Mordred. I just don't think sitting on Mordred doing nothing and having to wait for the break ride to get to the 4 before the ride the Abyss is worth it sometimes. Obviously, there are times where it's nice to have the Mordred as a ride, but I just don't think it's worth it. That's why I only play as a 1 of. I think Abyss is your main ride in this deck now because deck out is a major concern in this deck, and you just want to make sure you can loop cards back in your deck as you see fit. So yeah, that's why I choose to play the one Mordred and one Mordred instead. And next off, the 4 Abyss. Again, he's your main red. That's why you play 4 of this guy. His skill, if you don't know what he does, is on the Eternal Legion, CB1, sack 3 Avengers to restand draw 2. And then yeah, so he's your finisher. He's a finisher. He's a Legion, and he's an Abyss and a Revenger for name reasons. So yeah, definitely your main right. And finally, the new addition, the card I'd be playing, but the card I ended up liking, is the 4 Phantom Blaster Dragon Break Ride. So his skill is Limit Break 4, Break Ride. So when you ride on this card, Soul Blast 3 to give your Vanguard 10k and irrelevant skill. The skill basically will never come up. You'll probably never use it, but it's there. If you don't know what the skill is, Soul Blast 3, a 10k, you can give your Vanguard the skill. When he's doing an attack to Vanguard, you can retire 3 rears to draw 2 and countercharge 3, and your opponent has to drop a grade 3 if they want to use the Sentinel. So yeah, the reason why this card comes up is because it's sack 3, and 3 conflicts with Phantom Blaster Abyss, because Abyss is also sack 3. So what you end up doing with this most of the time is you use it for its on-ride skill. Like I said, you call fodder. Why? Because this card needs a sack, a card uses its skill. On play, you can sack off, you can retire one of your rears to search your deck for any blaster and add it to your hand, and he gets plus 3k. So very versatile. You can either use him to search your Abyss to re-ride, or you can use him to search one of your blaster arcs if you need to get the retire off. Obviously, since he's not revenging, you can't use these blaster arcs immediately, but you can search them ahead of time to use them later when you need them. So very versatile, and because this card has a Soul Blast 3 cost tied onto it, in certain matchups, i.e. Vanquisher, where they're banishing your drop zone all the time, if you ride this card and you wait until you have the Break Ride to ride on top of it, you can Soul Blast 3 just to fill drop zone up really easily like that. So the Break Ride skill does come up. Obviously, if you pay for the cost Soul Blast, you get the 10k power. You can just choose to not use this skill here, which does come up off, which basically was what you do. You Soul Blast 3 to fill drop zone up, and then the 10k is also just nice because it lets you hit over heal guards and stuff onto your Abyss. So the Break Ride skill, although not amazing, does have a cool niche to it, which is just nice to have. But this card is mainly here just to act as 4 extra copies of your Abyss, which is your main ride and what you want to go into all the time. So that's why I choose to play the 4 Phantom Blaster Dragon Break Ride instead of the Mordred. If you personally don't like this card, there's no like this is optional or anything. I just think this is the better way to play a deck. But obviously, you can just go ahead and play 4 Mordred as per usual, like the old list. But I personally like the 4 Phantom Blaster Dragon. That's why I personally choose to play it. And finally, for the G zone, we'll start from bottom up. We're playing 1 Midu. Its skill is on ride. If your Vanguard is 10k, if your heart is a 10k or lower power, you can add any grade 3 from drops into your hand. So yeah, if you don't know how this works, if you are in Legion, you can. If your Vanguard does have your heart does have a 9k because of the mate. So this card can help you fetch back copies of your Phantom Blaster Abyss to re-Legion for the following turn, or just grab a grade 3 to swing with, which does come up because sometimes late in the game you are on a low resource situation where Midu just being a +1 on stride is pretty nice. Next off, we're playing 1 Grim Revenger, or Grim Recruiter, not Revenger, Grim Recruiter. Skill is on hit, search your deck for any green 1 and call it. So you can use this to call your Sword Breakers, you can use this to call your Dorrance, you can use this to call your Dark Ones to get more fodder. So pretty okay, just flex spot 1 of, but the card we're mainly going to is the Aura Geyser first stride. So his skill is, when he's doing attacks to Vanguard, CB1, G Persona Blast, retire 2 rears to check top 2 cards of your deck, add both to your hand, and he gets plus 5k per grade 1 or lower revealed. What this card basically reads is CB1 Persona Blast, CB1 G Persona Blast, sack 2, draw 2. That's basically what this card reads. The power basically doesn't matter because if your first stride, your opponent probably is in F5, so the power shouldn't matter there. So just a nice convert your trash cards that you don't need into actual good cards. If you go first, you can do something like ride one of your anything, use Judge Bow, call 2 Sword Breakers. Sword Breaker can be used as fodder for the Revengers, right? But the instant you go to your next turn, you can sack them off with your Orgazers to get value out of them. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, realistically, you don't actually need 4. I just play 4 as I have 4. I think 2 is more than enough. If you don't have 4, you just play 1 of the Drag Ruler Revenant and 1 Harmonic inside the last 2 slots. But since I have 4, I'm playing 4. And finally, the last card is the Phantom Blaster Diablo. So his skill is GB2, once per turn, CB1, G Persona Flip. He gets 10k in a crit, and he gets the additional skill of when this unit attacks the Vanguard, sack 3 cards off to make it to sack 3 cards off, and then if your opponent has 1 or less rear guards, you glory them. So if they want PG, they need a grade, also discard grade 3, and if they have more than 1 rear, you can choose 2 rear guards to retire them instead. So it's okay, it's not terrible, not amazing. The glory skill does come up. They're actually having games where I wish I had a second set of it, but I don't. But so if you have a second set, you should probably play it over the extra Aura set, but it doesn't come up often enough that you're like dying to get it. So yeah, it's an okay alternate way to end the game, but realistically, what you can do with this card a lot of times is just CB1, Persona Flip, get 10k and crit, push damage, and that's it. You don't even, because this second part here is optional. You can just choose to not pay the cost for the sack 3. So yeah, pretty okay card. Has multi-purposes. It can be a retire, it can be a glory, it can just be a crit. So pretty okay overall, pretty solid card. So yeah, so that's it for this deck. Awesome games for you guys as per usual. Tell me guys what you think about this variation of Avengers. I know this is like the 3rd time I've done this deck, but I did try to put a twist to it, and I'm not doing it, putting a twist on it just because I want it to be different. I do actually like the way this list plays. So this is actually a list that I will recommend to you guys as a list that I personally climb with if I ever want to play Avengers. So yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.